Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please subscribe, give the video a like, leave me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody you think might get some out of it. Other than that, how was everybody today, guys? If you guys follow me regularly, you know by now that it is Sunday, which is God's Day, and we just kind of reflect on the week. And I've had so many weeks that were just miracle after miracle, right? And nothing crazy happened this week. I did have to go to a wake for my cousin, and that was sad. But again, it showed me the difference of who I am today, because it was nice that my entire family knew that I would be one of the few, one of the people that would make themselves available at all costs to be there to support family. And for decades, I was among the missing. I was usually the topic of, has anybody seen or heard from Pat? Is he still alive? Is he in prison? And it was nice to get so much feedback. Oh my God, Pat looked great. He showed up. It was great to see him. He looks great. He's doing good things, and that makes me feel amazing today, guys. It's funny, all the things that used to mean I used to think were so unimportant are really the most important things today, and I think that's why my life is doing so well now, because I finally come to the conclusion that the things that I understand now, the things that do matter, and for me, number one is God. My relationship with my higher power, whom I choose to call God, is what's given me everything that I have today. It's what saved my life, literally, guys. If you guys know I watch my videos, I've told you many times that this entire recovery started with saying a prayer one night. Somebody asked me one night when I was still heavily using, I was hiding my drug use from somebody because they weren't in my day-to-day life locally, they were in my life online. And I wasn't telling them the truth. I told them I had drug issues in the past, but I didn't tell them I was a raging heroin addict and smoking crack around the clock. And they knew something was up, because here I am, working 4 in the morning till 8, 9 o'clock at night, and staying up online till 3 a.m. with them, and saying I was going to bed, but not even going to bed, just whatever, doing whatever, until I would suddenly go, oh my God, it's 5:30. I gotta go to work in an hour, and I'd start changing drugs to different drugs to come down to be, oh my God, what an absolute nightmare. And I'm so grateful that I don't live that life anymore. I'm so grateful for so many things in my life today, guys. But again, all of these started by saying a prayer one night. Saying a prayer that night made me feel a little bit lighter, and it literally, I thought I was appeasing somebody else, and literally instead what happened was my heart poured out, and I felt it, and I know I meant it, and I'm like, okay, well, and I felt a little bit better. And I said, maybe it's time to maybe it's time to start saying a prayer. Maybe it's time to start looking outside of my own ridiculous needs, and start thinking, start feeling. And that's what I did, guys. Over the course of the next couple of months, I started feeling things more and more, and it got harder and harder to get high every night. It got harder and harder to poison myself every day. And no matter how hard I tried, it wasn't working anymore. It just wasn't doing it for me. And that was great, because I started reaching out, and I started letting a couple people know, listen, you guys know I'm a mess, I need help. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. In another few months, you're going to see the best version of me you've ever seen. And I meant it. I didn't know how it was going to happen, and finally it happened. I just stopped. I just got to the point where I literally could not put any more drugs in my system, knowing full well I was about to go through the worst detox of my life, and I was literally going to try and do it right here at home, because I thought, because I was praying and I was doing the right thing, that I would just magically disappear, and that's ridiculous. I mean, but I say these things because other people might be feeling the same way. Guys, we need help. We all need help. Nobody is, nobody's God, right? None of us are. So don't be afraid to ask for help. It's the most, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It's a sign of intelligence. It's a sign of desire for or wanting better. And you got to have these things in order to get better, guys. If you want to do better, you got to want better in order to get better. I mean, it's simple as that, right? And obviously that's just a catchphrase, but it's also the beginning to something beautiful if you actually take the action. Now, the other thing is, yesterday I went back and watched some of my early videos, and just because somebody else had commented, left a comment that they'd seen my early work and they saw some of my stuff, they're glad I was still here, and they were very happy to see how much better I've become. And wow, and I was so glad I did, guys. I enjoyed watching my first video, I got a good chuckle out of it. I've come a long way, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I've come so far. And one thing that really, really caught my eye, it was actually my second video that I produced. Towards the end of the video, I said, guys, I'm on here doing these, knowing I'm a mess, knowing my message is terrible and I'm all over the map. But I got a download from God saying, start this from day one so that people can see the progression. And one thing I said is, you watch where I am in 6 months. I know God is going to bless me in ways that are going to shock me. Guys, here we are 5 months later. And I knew good things were coming. I did not anticipate that in 5 months I would open my business, rent the garage for the side hustle, get a scholarship to Harvard University. If you told me that day, 5 months ago, that was going to happen, I would have had a heart attack and I would have fallen over. And I probably would have gone back out in a relapse, thinking that there's no way something drastic is going to happen. I couldn't handle this. And that's the beauty of it, guys. I say this because when you walk in faith and you just show up and you like I say it all the time, give it to God. You surrender means turning your burdens over, getting over your own inadequacies, your own insecurities, and your own limiting beliefs. I didn't know what it was going to look like, and I didn't want to know because I knew it would be more than I can handle at that point. But I knew God was going to show me my path. Guys, what I've managed to do in 5 months is nothing short of a miracle. It's nothing short of miraculous. It's nothing short of shocking, and it's beautiful. The person that I'm becoming, it fills me with pride. It overwhelms me with joy. Like, for once, I mean, that's one thing, guys. I've talked about this a few times, and I know but again, I know there's new people coming and going, so guys, bear with me. We have a tendency to repeat. When I'm talking about my past, I'm going to say the same things. My past doesn't change. A big issue that I had was I didn't know what mattered to me. I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know why I hated myself so much that I was poisoning myself every day. And those questions have been answered, and I understand it now. And the beauty of it is now, as I'm starting to figure out who I am, I mean, I'm still learning. I'm a human being. We grow and progress every day, and we grow into the person that we're eventually going to become. But I love the person that I am today, and that's something I could never say. And it was a huge part of what kept me stuck in addiction for so long, because I didn't like the life that I was living. I didn't like the person that I was portraying. I didn't feel aligned with who I was pretending to be, and therefore nothing ever worked, no matter how hard. And here's the thing, guys. I'm one of the hardest working human beings anybody's ever met. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because about 4,000 people have told me this over the course of my life. I mean, you can kind of figure things out from comparison. And again, comparison is a thief of joy. So don't compare yourself with anybody else. I compare myself with myself, and I love the strides that I've made. I love who I'm becoming compared to who I was, because I wasn't me. I never gave myself enough attention or value to actually stop and figure out who I was, what mattered to me. I was literally always just doing what other people told me I should, or what other people saw, or what other people thought, or living up to a projection that other people were projecting. And I don't do that today. I don't care what anybody thinks, guys. I mean, I want to help people, and I know by helping people, and again, I don't have to worry about any of that because I'm a good person and people like me, and I get along with everybody, and so I don't have to go out of my way to try to make people like me. All I do today is try to please God and try to make myself happy, and in doing so, I'm helping so many people, and I'm pleasing so many people because they see the best version of me that's ever walked the planet, and that makes me incredibly happy, guys. I'm finding balance in my life. One thing I never had was balance. I never had anything outside of work and drugs, drugs and work and drugs, and it was terrible. I was miserable, and I was always going to be miserable until I died, and I did that a number of times too. I don't have to do that today, guys. Typically I said Sunday, typically God said, but here's the thing, guys. I don't box anything, and that includes my relationship with my higher power. I'm not one of those people that say, oh, well, I can't do anything on Sunday because that's, no, Sunday, every day is God's day. My life is God's life. I live to serve God and serve myself and to serve people around me. So part of my job description is I'm a property manager. I do property maintenance. I do emergency service calls. I do heating, plumbing. So I'm always on call. If certain property owners, I've taken on the contract of emergency service. So therefore, I was always going to be. Now, this particular weekend, we had 4 apartments that, not mine, but the guy that I contract for. 4 people were moving out on Saturday, and then people moving in on Sunday. And there's not a whole lot of turnaround there. Fortunately, we've had good tenants, and we keep up on things. But that meant I had a lot of juggling to do. I had to get cleaning services in as soon as people got out. I had to make sure nothing was left behind. I had to make sure keys were in the proper locations. So I was up at 6 o'clock this morning working. Now, I typically like to sleep in on Sunday, and I didn't get to, and that was okay. Like, I didn't let any of that. The reason I bring this all up, guys, is because I didn't let any of this throw me off. As much as I love my routine to the best of my ability these days, because routine and consistency is huge, guys. You gotta have routine and consistency in your life as much as you can. Now, I maintain consistency in the person that I am. I'm the same person every day, regardless of an outside stimuli, an outside situation, and that's beautiful because that wasn't the case before. I was 2 totally different people, depending on whether I had drugs left over from the night before or not. If I did, then I'd show up at work and I'd bulldoze my way through. If I didn't, I wouldn't get out of bed, and you wouldn't see me until somebody did something, and that was terrible, guys. My life was terrible. I can't begin to describe to you guys just how terrible my life was. It's a wonder that I kept plugging away at it for as long as I did, trying as hard as I did. And literally, guys, I was the definition of insanity because I kept coming back every day, doing the same thing, expecting to get a different result. And this time around, guys, I understood that I put the drugs down in the past and it's never made it. I think the longest I ever made was just about 11 months, and that included being in prison for 6 months and being in holding and halfway houses for 4 months. So literally, like, not even 2 months, no, not even that. I don't think I made 2 weeks come out of the halfway house at any point. And the beauty of it is I reset my sobriety date when I left rehab this time because I did have that slip up the night that I got home. But I've been on my own for these 5 months that I've been sober, and it's the longest I've had, answering to nobody but myself. And in doing so, for once, I've taken help. I've always done well within a structured environment, and the minute that I get out of it, I had nothing to fall back on because I hadn't found an AA or NA home group. I hadn't made sober connections. I wasn't healing from the things that were causing me to go back to addiction. I wasn't addressing the underlying causes that brought me to addiction in the first place. And today, that's what I do, guys. I started this by understanding there was all these reasons that keep bringing me back and bringing me back and bringing back the same thing, and I had to address these things so they didn't come back up and bite me in the ass. And I love it. And I tell you, one of the things that I had to do today was go check out an apartment that somebody was moving out that is a notorious drug user and, known for having a lot of drugs on hand, we'll say. And I wasn't thrilled about that, guys. I don't want to find myself in a situation where there might be drugs hidden somewhere and I have to go. So what I did was I said an extra prayer. I asked God for strength. And then I called somebody else and said, hey, I need you to come with me. I have no desire to use, but I don't want to find myself in an apartment that I'm cleaning up that I might run across something and be by myself just because there's no need of it. And again, I'm on my Sublocade. I'm doing good. I have no desires. But again, that's the beauty of today, guys. I understand that just because I don't want to, I know what's happened in the past. And if I can foresee that situation coming, then I take an extra precaution of having somebody else that is sober with me, so that just God forbid. And as it turned out, the person hasn't moved out yet, so it wasn't even an issue. But now, when they do in the next few days, I have a backup plan. I have somebody coming with me, so I don't find myself alone. And I'm sure he's going to make sure there's nothing left behind because that's his deal. But that being said, whenever there's a possibility of it, I know there's going to be. I take precautions today, guys, and it's no longer I'm going to show the universe how strong I am. No, I don't need that, man, because I would hate like hell to give up everything I've got going right now. And I know I won't willingly, I won't knowingly, but you just never know. And that's why it's the same reason I take my Sublocade, guys. I have no urges. I have no desires to use drugs, and I don't. But again, I think a big part of this because I know once a month I get injected with Sublocade, which is an opiate blocker. So even if I were to use drugs, I couldn't feel them. I could still overdose. I could still die from them, but I'd never get high, and that removes the desire, the obsession. And I'd like to believe that God's removed the obsession. But why, when it doesn't bother me, and there's no side effect, and there's no narcotic value of it. Why, it's not hurting me in any way, shape, or form. As a matter of fact, it's bringing me to my doctor once a month, so I get to check up and I stay on top of all my other medical concerns because I hadn't had a primary care physician in over 10 years, probably longer than that. And now I get to go once a month and see my medical team and keep up. And this coming month coming up, I'm getting my my liptoids. I think it's the what is that? Cholesterol. I think my cholesterol is being checked and a couple other things and small blood work being done, and everything's coming out great so far. I've been amazingly shocked at how healthy I am. I talked about it yesterday, guys. I woke up today sore as can be. Now I've been going to the gym consistently for months, but I'm finding ways to step up my game now that I'm getting stronger, I'm getting healthier, I'm getting heavier. And I told you guys yesterday, I threw 280 pounds on the bench press yesterday, and I got 6 reps out of it, and that felt great. And I was doing it all on free weights. I woke up this morning, I'm like, you know what I feel like? I feel like I put 280 pounds up at 52 years old. But guys, you know what? It's a good sore, and I feel amazing, and I'm proud of myself. And I'm proud of myself in so many areas of my life. And I say this because you can too. Guys, don't sit there and wait for the situation to be right to start something that's going to be better you. It's never going to be right. You're never going to be better than you are right now. There's never going to be a better chance than right now to start something. And consistency pays off, guys. My first few workouts, I was so weak it bothered me. I was like embarrassed because I've always worked out here and there when I get sober. In the few minimal times that I was. I'm particularly locked up in prison. I always got, I was always wanting to go into jail for 6 months or a year, and I'd come out jacked, and 4 months later I'd lose it all. This time I'm doing the opposite. I got home and started working out, and I'm consistently maintaining. And now I'm starting to see gains, and I'm starting to see progression, and I'm starting to get attention. I'm seeing how much better I look. My skin looks so clear. My eyes don't look so sullen. I can see the blue in my eyes again. I have teeth in my mouth. I'm learning to talk. I'm actually starting to speak pretty fluently with these things, and that they're not even implanted yet. They're just brown bridges right now, but they're going to be implanted soon. They're going to be that much better. And it's because, guys, I keep coming, right? I keep coming back every day and just making a little bit of progress. I don't kill myself every day. When I'm tired, I rest. That's the other thing, guys. I take things at the pace my body and the universe wants to feed me, so that I don't become overwhelmed and I don't find myself overstretched and overcommitting to anything. And I'm very intentional about doing those things because those are the things that have caused me problems in the past. And for once in my life, I'm able to see where I had problems in the past and avert them this time and keep that from happening. And again, I give so much of the credit for that is because I've developed a relationship with my higher power, who has put people in situations and opportunities directly in my lap as I was comfortable, as I was ready for them. He's challenged me to step up, but only so far that I'm able without it risking me going backwards or feeling bad about something. Guys, it is the most beautiful and encouraging thing. This is why I get on here and do these videos every day. This channel's not going to grow to the point where, I don't offer the type of things that are going to go viral, and I don't, it's not going to be a money-making channel, and I'm okay with that. I don't do that. I own my business. I go to work every day to make money, pay my bills. I do this as a labor of love because I like to think that I'm making a difference in the world, and I like to think that I'm giving an addiction a little kick in the ass. I'm having a little... I understand that I'm a very powerful person who survived so many things, and I have a lot of good wisdom to share. And I like to think that the devil kicked my ass for so long, and now I'm kicking his ass a little bit and taking some souls back for God. Guys, always remember, God loves you. I love you. If nobody else has told you that today, now I have. Somebody, we should all hear that multiple times a day, but you'll hear it at least once here. Guys, God loves you. I love you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with me. Be blessed. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.